So moving on to 2-3 today, we're going to learn the third type of linear equation. So we're going to write and graph linear equations in standard form. We're also going to use this standard form to help us interpret the x and the y-intercepts in the context of given data. Okay, we're going to look at word problems. So here's standard form. Okay, and like always, this book likes to just drop us right into an example, then explain what's going on. So the problem we're going to look at today is Hannah will spend $150 on music festival tickets. Reserved seat tickets cost $25, and general admission tickets cost $10. How can you represent the situation with a linear equation? Okay, so notice I have two different types of tickets. Okay, I've got the reserved tickets, and I've got my general admission. Okay, I don't know how many of each of these I'm getting, so those are going to be my variables are. Okay, so when we have more than one unknown, it's always a really good idea to label your variables. So the first thing we should do is say, okay, reserved seat tickets, let's call that X. And the general admission, let's call that Y. And it's always good to write those down. Okay, so let's see if we can come up with an equation. Well, I know my equation has to equal something, so how much am I going to spend? I'm going to spend 150. So I know my equation equals 150. Now, what do we know about X? Well, reserved tickets, okay, that's X. Oh, they cost 25. How can I represent that? 25X. And I'm going to buy these general admission tickets. Do I know anything about general admission? Well, they cost 10, so we're going to say 10Y. Okay, and the and right here tells me I'm adding these together. So the equation 25x plus 10y equals 150 is in standard form. Okay, standard form of a linear equation, ax plus by equals c. Okay, and here's the rules. A, b, and c have to be integers, and a and b are not both equal to 0. Okay, ax plus by equals c. A, b, and c are integers, a and b are not both 0. Okay, one could be 0, but not both of them at the same time. Okay, so this equation, ax plus by equals c. Okay, a would be 25, b would be 10, and c would be 150. Okay, so just a, b, and c. Okay, so to reiterate this, okay, standard form, ax plus by equals c. First rule again, a, b, and c are integers, which means you cannot have any fractions. Okay, a and b are not both 0. And this third rule, our book doesn't mention, but every other algebra book I've worked with has said a has to be positive. Okay, so we always start out positive here. This can be negative, this could be negative, but we keep a positive. All right, so no integers, or all integers, and a and b can't both be 0, and a has to be positive. So let's look at some examples. Okay, first example, I have y equals 5x plus 2. I want to change this to standard form. Okay, so ax plus by equals c. Right now this is in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So looking at my equation, I just need to get the x and the y on the same side. So how can I move my x over? Well, I'm just going to subtract it. Okay, I'm going to move over here just to have some more room. Negative 5x plus y equals 2. Now, remember right here, a has to be positive. A is negative. So all I'm going to do is divide everything by negative 1. So I get positive 5x. Let's change the sign here. So minus y equals, change the sign here, negative 2. That is standard form. Okay, example 2. I have 1/2 x minus y equals 6. Okay, what rule am I breaking here? I'm breaking the integer rule. Can't have any fractions. So how do I get rid of 1/2? Well, you just multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by 2. Now the tricky part is this entire side gets multiplied by 2. Okay, not just this part, because that's not fair. You got to do it to everything. If I do it to one side, have to do it to the other. So then just distribute. 1/2 times 2 is just plain old 1, so x. 2 times negative y is negative 2y. 6 times 2 is 12. Okay, so run through the rules again. No fractions, okay, check. A and B can't both be 0, check, and A is positive, so we're good there. Okay, our third example, y plus 1 equals 1/3 x minus 6. Notice this is in point slope form. Again, I need to get it to standard form. So the first thing I would do is I would probably change it to slope intercept and then go to standard form. So first thing probably should do is distribute here. So y plus 1 equals 1/3 x minus 2. Okay, let's get y by itself. Subtract the 1 here. Okay, I get y equals 1/3 x minus 3. Okay, now that's slope-intercept form, so let's get it into standard form. So let's get our x's and y's on the same side. So subtract that 1/3 x. So I have negative 1/3 x plus y equals negative 3. Okay, let's check our rules. First rule, no fraction. Oh, we got a fraction here. So I'm just going to multiply by the reciprocal. So times 3. Okay, remember another rule is A can't be positive. A has to be positive. So I got to get rid of this negative also. So instead of just multiplying by 3, let's multiply by negative 3. If I do it to one side, do it to the other. Okay, so if I distribute the negative 3, those cancel and it becomes a positive 1x. Negative 3 times y gives me negative 3y. And negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. And there is your standard form. Okay, so that's probably the trickiest part when you have a negative fraction in front of the x. Just multiply by the negative reciprocal. Right, so going back to our story about Hannah. Hannah's spending $150 on these music tickets. Reserved seat tickets cost $25. General admission tickets cost $10. What information does standard form give you that slope-intercept form does not? Okay, so just to remind you, the standard form looked like this. Okay, 25x plus 10y equals 150. How would I change that to slope-intercept form? Well, I'll get y by itself, so subtract the 25, then I would have to divide everything by 10. Okay, so slope-intercept form looks like this. Y equals negative 2.5x plus 15. So looking here, I know what my y-intercept is. Okay, my y-intercept is 15. That tells me when I buy 0 of the x, so 0 reserved, I can buy 15 general admission. Okay? So when the equation is in slope-intercept form, I can see the y-intercept just by looking at it. But to find the x-intercept, I still need to plug in 0 for y and then solve for x. Okay, so standard form, we see the individual price of each ticket, and we also see how much she can spend total. Okay, if she can spend $150 total, this is what we call the constraint. Okay, this is what she's limited to. So when the equation is in standard form, we can determine the constraint just by looking at it. Okay, so they're both helpful at different times. Okay, so the equations y equals negative 2.5x plus 15 and 25x plus 10y equals 150 represent her music festival situation. Let's talk about finding the x-intercept. Would it be easier to find the x-intercept in slope-intercept form or in standard form? Well, let's think about what the x-intercept really is. Okay, so remember the x-intercept is anywhere I cross the x-axis. Okay, so if it's here, okay, here, okay, anywhere that crosses the x-axis. What do you notice that is common about each of those points? Okay, when I find the x-intercept, y is 0. Okay, so which one of these is it easier to find the x-intercept? Okay, which would be easier to plug 0 in for y? Well, this one right here is easier. If I plug in 0 for y, this whole term goes away, and it's just dividing by 25 on both sides. If I plug in 0 for y here, I have to move the 15 over and then divide. It's a little less work to do standard form. And we're actually going to be looking at finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept here in just a second. Okay, so it's easier to find the x-intercept in standard form. Okay, so let's graph now. Okay, graphing is super easy. You only need to find 2 points. Okay, so here's our graph. We want to graph 3x minus 2y equals 9. Now the problem with using slope-intercept form here is sometimes you're going to get fractions for your intercept. Okay, and that's not always the nicest to graph. So this is where standard form can be very helpful. So in order to graph from standard form, all you have to do is find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Okay, so we were just kind of talking about the x-intercept. Whenever I cross that x-axis, we always notice that y equals 0. Okay, so to find our x-intercept, all we do is let y equal 0 and then solve for x. Okay, so if I have 3x minus 2y equals 9, all I'm going to do is plug in 0 right here. And that term completely goes away. Okay, because 2 times 0 is just 0. So that just leaves me 3x equals 9. So what would x equal here? Well, I'll divide both sides by 3, I get x equals 3. So the x-intercept is the point 3, 0. Okay, remember x and y. We let y right here equal 0. Okay, so that's super easy. Now to find, let's change gears. Let's talk about the y-intercept. Okay, the y-intercept is anywhere across the y-axis. What do you notice about each of those points? Well, in this case, x equals 0. So to solve this equation, we're taking the same thing we started with, 3x minus 2y equals 9, but instead of letting y be 0, this time I'm going to let x be 0. So if I plug 0 in here, 3 times 0 is 0. That's gone. So all I'm left with now is negative 2y equals 9. Solve for y, I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. I get y equals negative 4.5. Okay, if I write it as an ordered pair, x comma y, well, I let x be 0, and I solve for y right here, negative 4.5. Those are the only 2 points I need. So now, let's plot these points, and then we're just going to graph. Okay, so this point right here, 3, 0. 1, 2, 3. It's right here. And this point, 0, negative 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Last step, we're just going to connect the dots. And there is my graph. That's all you have to do. Okay? So remember, find the x-intercept, plug in 0 for y, and solve. Find the y-intercept, we're going to plug in 0 for x, and then solve for y. Okay, your turn. Please pause the video and solve. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is find the x-intercept. Okay, so remember, at the x-intercept, I plug in 0 for y. Okay, so let me write the equation again. Okay, I'm going to let y be 0. Okay, so if I plug in 0, 5 times 0 is 0. This whole term is gone. So I'm just left with 4x equals 10. Divide both sides by 4. X equals 2.5. Okay, so remember, this is the x comma y. So I know x, and we let y be 0. So there's my first point. Let's do our y-intercept now. Same equation. But instead of letting y be 0, this time I'm letting x be 0. So if I plug in 0 here, 4 times 0 is 0. That's gone. So I'm left with 5y equals 10. Divide both sides by 5. Y equals 2. Okay, again, the point I want is x comma y. We let x be 0, so 0, 2. Now all you got to do is plot the points. So 2.50, 1, 2.5. And this point, 0, 2, right there. And then connect the dots. And there's your graph. So let's look at a few more examples. Okay, what happens if I let a equal 0? Okay, so this term's gone. There's nothing there. Well, let's look at an example. I want to graph 2y equals 6. Well, I'm going to solve for y because I like the form y equals. So divide both sides by 2, y equals 3. Now this is a special kind of line, okay? Y equals a number. Oh, that sounds like y. Okay, that is a horizontal line. So I'm going to go up to where y is 3. So 1, 2, 3. And it's just a horizontal line straight through there. And that's all there is. Okay, so now let's let b equal 0. Okay, so this guy's gone. Okay, so I just had 3x equals negative 6. Again, I'm going to go ahead and solve for x. So divide both sides by 3. Get x equals negative 2. I just had a Hoy line. This is probably going to be a Vux line. X equals a number. Okay, so go to the x-axis and go to negative 2. And V stands for vertical. So it's just a vertical line straight up and down through here. That's all it is. Okay, your turn to pause the video and make sure you understand how to do these. Okay, so divide both sides because we want to solve for the variable. Y equals negative 6. Y, that's Hoy. So horizontal, let's go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just do a horizontal line. Okay, another one. Please pause the video and try this. Okay, remember I'm just going to solve. So divide both sides by 4. X equals 3. X equals. Sounds like a Vux line. Let's go to the x-axis. Okay, go to where x is 3. So 1, 2, 3. Vux. V is vertical. And there you go. Last thing I want to look at is a word problem. So Tamira is making trail mix. She has $40 to spend on a mixture of almonds and cashews, and wants about the same amount of almonds as cashews. How can she determine how many pounds of each nut to buy? Well, let's look at what we know. Okay, I know I have $40 to spend. That's my constraint. I also know almonds are $8 a pound and cashews are 10. So let's come up with our variables. Well, I've got almonds and cashews. Almonds come first, so I'm going to say that's x. Okay, y then would be cashews. And I can't spell today. Okay, so now let's come up with an equation. Okay, so how much can I spend altogether? That's the 40. So I know my equation equals 40. Okay, so standard form is what we're working with. So let's talk about almonds. So x is almonds. Do I know anything else about almonds? Oh, almonds are 8. So let's call that 8x. Okay, she wants a mixture. So to me, a mixture means plus. Okay, and y is cashews. Do I know anything about my cashews? Oh, they're 10. So 10y. So there's my equation. Okay, let's go ahead and graph this just for the heck of it. Okay, I'm going to put a quick graph up here. Right, so how do I graph standard form? Oh yeah, I just let each variable equal 0 one at a time. So let's start the x-intercept. Okay, 8x plus 10y equals 40. The x-intercept, remember, you let y equal 0, so boom, this guy's gone. So I just have 8x equals 40. Divided by sides by 8, x equals 5. The ordered pair then becomes 5, comma, 0. Okay, if I do my y-intercept, same equation. Instead of letting x equal 0, this time y is going to equal 0, or x is going to equal 0. Okay, so 8 times 0, that's 0, so that guy's just gone. So 10y equals 40. Divide by sides by 10, y equals 4. So let's go ahead and, so then my ordered pair here, I let x be 0, so 0, comma 4. plot these 2 points, 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 0, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Connect the dots. There we have it. So she can buy any combination that is on this section right here. Okay, because if I go here, I'm buying negative. If I go here, I'm buying negative. And that doesn't make sense. Okay, so any combination of points on that line will work. Okay, your turn. Please pause the video and try this problem. Okay, so this problem's super similar. Almonds are 8, cashews are 10, and this time she has 60 to spend. So again, x equals almonds, y equals cashews. Okay, so I know almonds, that's 8, so it's 8x. Cashews, oh, they're 10, so 10y. And how much can I spend? 60. Okay, so there's my equation. Now I want to know how many pounds of nuts can I buy if I only buy cashews. Okay, so I buy 0 almonds. So only cashews. Which one was almonds? Oh, it's this guy. So this guy goes to 0. Okay, we want 0x. So boom, this guy's gone. 10y equals 60. I can get 6 pounds of cashews if I only buy cashews. Okay, let's talk about if I buy only almonds. So same, only almonds. So this time I'm going to get rid of the y's. Okay, so this guy's gone. So 8x equals 60. Divide both sides by 8. Get x equals 7.5. Okay. So then if I have a mixture of both, I can buy between 0 and 6 pounds of cashews and 0 and 7.5 pounds of almonds. Okay, anything in between those combinations. Okay, so here's standard form. Again, remember, it's super useful if you need to find the x and y intercepts. Super useful for horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, so remember when I'm looking to find my x-intercept, I let y be 0. I'm looking to find my y-intercept, I let x be 0. Okay, remember ax plus by equals c. A, b, and c have to be integers, so no fractions. And a and b can't both be 0 at the same time. Also add the third rule that a has to be positive. Okay, and all we need is 2 points and connect the dots and we have the line. Homework tonight, you're on page 73. Please do problems 10, 12, 15 through 21 odd, 23 through 26, and then 29 through 39 odd. As always, please come prepared with questions. See you guys.